room was loud with silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that presses against your chest when everyone is pretending not to see what's right in front of them. Two little girls stood near the glass wall of the executive floor, holding hands, eyes scanning faces that refused to look back. Their matching coats were too thin for the winter morning, their backpacks worn, their smiles hopeful but fading. Everyone knew who they were, everyone knew who their mother was, and yet not a single person stopped until a single dad with tired eyes and a lunchbox in his hand paused, turned around, and lifted his hands to sign one simple word: hello. He wasn't supposed to be there. Daniel worked downstairs, maintaining the building, fixing leaks, changing lights, staying invisible. That was the rule. People like him didn't exist on the executive floor unless something was broken. But that morning, something already was. The girls, Lily and Luna, were the CEO's deaf twin daughters. After a recent corporate scandal and a brutal boardroom battle, their mother had become untouchable. Employees avoided her children out of fear, discomfort, or the awkward guilt of not knowing how to communicate. It was easier to walk past than to try, easier to look at phones, easier to pretend. Daniel saw them because he always saw what others missed. Maybe it was because his own son Noah was waiting at home with homework he couldn't understand and questions he couldn't answer. Maybe it was because Daniel knew the ache of being overlooked. Or maybe it was because years ago, he had learned sign language late at night after Noah lost his hearing in an accident, and the world suddenly went quiet. When Daniel signed hello, Lily's eyes widened. Luna gasped and smiled so big it looked like it might break her face in two. They signed back so fast their hands almost tangled. You know? Lily signed. Daniel nodded. A little, he replied, embarrassed. But I'm learning. That was enough. More than enough. In that instant, the heavy silence cracked. They talked in signs about school, about their favorite cartoons, about how scary the building felt. Daniel knelt so he was at their level, his knees protesting, his lunchbox forgotten on the floor. He didn't notice the stairs. He didn't see the security guard hesitate. He only saw two kids who had been waiting for someone to notice them. Their mother watched from behind the glass of her office. Claire Bennett, the woman everyone feared, the CEO whose name made headlines and stock prices tremble, felt something she hadn't felt in months, relief mixed with heartbreak. She had fought billion-dollar deals without blinking, but seeing her daughters ignored day after day had hollowed her out. She had tried hiring aides, tutors, specialists, but what they needed was simple human kindness. And this man, this janitor with worn boots and gentle hands, had given it freely. From that day on, Daniel became part of their mornings. He taught them new signs. They taught him faster ones. Sometimes he brought extra sandwiches. Sometimes they brought drawings for Noah. The building began to notice, not because Daniel wanted attention, but because kindness is loud when it breaks routine. Some smiled, some looked away, but a few stopped and tried to learn, one word at a time. Then everything fell apart again. The board voted Claire out. Overnight, security was reassigned. Access cards were deactivated. The twins' routine shattered. On the last day Claire came to clear her office, Lily and Luna waited near the lobby, confused and scared. Daniel was told to stay downstairs. Not your place, his supervisor warned. This is executive business. But Daniel had learned something raising a child who couldn't hear excuses. He walked anyway. The lobby was chaos, lawyers, boxes, whispered conversations. Claire stood alone, holding back tears she refused to let anyone see. The twins clung to her coat, overwhelmed. When they saw Daniel, they ran to, signing frantically. We're leaving. We don't know where. Will you still be here? Daniel swallowed hard. He signed slowly so they wouldn't miss a word. I don't know, he admitted, but wherever you go, you won't be invisible. Not to me. Claire stepped forward. For the first time, she spoke to him, not as a CEO, not as a boss, but as a mother. Thank you, she said, voice breaking. You saw them when no one else did. Daniel shrugged, uncomfortable. They're kids, he signed back gently. They deserve to be seen. Weeks passed. The building returned to normal, or what passed for normal. Daniel went back to being unseen. Noah asked about the girls sometimes. Daniel said they were okay. He hoped it was true. Then one afternoon, a letter arrived. Not an email, not a legal notice. A handwritten envelope with a familiar logo. Claire had started something new, not a company, but a foundation. A place for deaf children, inclusive education, real support. She wanted Daniel there, not as maintenance, as community outreach, as someone who understood. The first day Daniel walked into that new building, Lily and Luna were waiting at the door. They signed in unison, hands flying, faces glowing. You came, Daniel signed back, smiling through tears. I said hello once, he replied. I wasn't planning to stop. In a world obsessed with titles and power, a single word, spoken with hands, met with heart, had changed everything. Not because it was loud, but because it was seen.